like how I was explaining, I think I wrote it to you that I was explaining that I've been having like issues when people are very passive with me, and I feel like it kind of just ties in with our previous session. So I just wanted to go over that probably like within a game or the actual or the VOD that was going over with Techno. I was thinking of maybe going over that, seeing what things that you saw, things that things that just like pop out to you, and
Yeah, I'd love to do that.
yeah.
Especially like if you've already looked at it with Techno Spider, then then it'll be interesting to see what things we pick up that we both pick up on, and what things we like, but what things we have in common, what things are different, and what things we disagree with. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So is the VOD uploaded to YouTube or do you have the SLPs?
I have the SLPs.
Totally fine.
Fortunately, as yeah, I was planning to do a tournament, or I was trying to go to yesterday's tournament, but I couldn't. So I wanted to do that one, but couldn't go to the tournament. So these are from last Sunday.
Okay, perfect.
Here. Fortunately, I don't have them in order, but the first one should be here. Which one should be Battlefield? Game one should start on Battlefield, which is the one ending in 0219. So that is,
Oh, okay, I see that one.
yeah,
So you're fighting a Marth player, you said, and they're
correct.
playing like very, very, very passively.
It's a playstyle that I've always had trouble with. Eric has also tried to address it with me, and it's still something that kind of just has always, or is just still giving me like it freaks me out. I don't know why. Um,
It's okay. We'll figure this
yeah,
out.
it's a very strange playstyle, and it's something that I'm just not used to at all. So when it comes up, I tend to lose a lot.
Okay, okay. So let me just slow the game down real quick. We're gonna put it on
Yeah.
80% speed, so we can still like pause and go back, but it still plays in a timely fashion. Because yeah, this is a long game, like 6 minutes. So yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing about he's just chilling. Okay, so I already see some. I have some ideas already, but I'm gonna
Hmm.
watch this play out a little more,
Yeah.
um, just so I can get a sense of like what's going on from each person.
Hmm.
Do you win the set, or do you wind up losing?
I wind up losing.
Okay, but game five though, so it's like there's you're in there, like you're hanging in there, like you're definitely in it, but like he manages to win.
Yeah, and it was honestly, I'll be honest, I would think I should have won the set, but I did play in a way where I felt like I was sure I had the victory. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna win the set at game four, and I think that definitely just threw me off completely because in game I lost game four, and I'm like, wait, why didn't I win game four? So there
Hmm.
was definitely a lot of thinking of just like getting in my head, just like, ugh. So game five was definitely a struggle. Almost got it, but not quite.
Who wins game one?
Uh, they do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, so I'm gonna watch this stock. We'll watch like the next stock for both of you. Like basically when you're at, I'm gonna assume that you two trade stocks, on this one.
Hmm.
Just with how the fight dynamic has been working out, maybe it changes, because it could. But right now, I think you're both gonna kill each other. Like, I think you're gonna be at 2-2 at some point, and then I want to kind of just see if everything happens the way I think it might, or mostly
Hmm.
happens. Then there's some things on the first stock I might want to talk to you about it and
Okay.
get your input on. I really like how much like missiles are becoming like a bigger thing with this character. It makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense to me, like because it feels kind of like a Falco laser in a way. Like it's a somewhat efficient projectile that just controls space and forces the opponent to like do something about it because they can't just
Yeah.
get hit by it.
It's definitely an RPS. Like whether the Marth wants to jump over it, wants to break it, wants to power shield it. So there's definitely a lot of play into it.
Yeah. What if he can't do any of those? Like, what if he just puts up his shield?
Ooh, that's a good idea. I usually would like to do unblockable setups, so down angle forward smash at his feet, or I could probably bomb his shield as well. I don't mind getting grabbed. I shouldn't mind getting grabbed, but I don't know. I think I do subconsciously. I do kind of get scared when I get grabbed, but I shouldn't fear getting grabbed in this matchup. But bomb is definitely a good answer. I think if he wants a shield, just But that's always been my big issue. Just like I tend to just fall back on bad habits whenever they want to just overshield and just wait me out.
I noticed that so this is kind of like the thing I thought would happen. So I noticed that like when we've been going through our different options in terms of like how we could handle this situation, we never consider grabbing.
Right, grabbing is, I don't know why, and I did it there. But grabbing has always been something that I just don't like doing, and I don't know why. I've always just never liked grabbing.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I mean, like, I think that as far as a Samus player, not being uneasy about grabbing is like pretty understandable, all things
Right.
considered. But I do also think that that grabbing can solve a problem here.
Yes, I would agree.
So, what do you think stops if you had to like? I know you said you don't know, but if you had to like hypothesize, if you had to offer a hypothesis as to what stops you from grabbing, what do you think it would be?
I always think it's just I don't think it's gonna work. It's too slow. They're gonna roll out. They're gonna hit me out of it, or they're just gonna grab themselves. That's kind of what runs through my head when I feel like or what dissuades me from grabbing.
Okay, cool. So let's take
Yeah.
a look at some of these situations.
Yeah.
Because you said they can roll out. You said they can grab you 1st. They
Mhm.
can. What else did you say they could do?
They can hit me out of shield.
Hit. Okay, attack out of shield. Cool.
Yeah.
So let's watch a few of these. So first interaction, real interaction. So he comes down with block, and we're gonna like go with this frame by frame. So you do this like great missile. So you're landing. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You are actionable right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you dash forward, so you mentioned that you're not sure how much shield stun your missile does, right?
Right. I think it's 14, but
Oh, we can just
don't
count.
quote me on that.
No, we can just count it. We'll just count it now. So here, 1. So that would be hit lag. 2, 3, 4, 5. Because his shield hasn't changed its animation, right? So it's still in the this is all still hit lag. When it disappears, he is still in shield stun at this time. This is when shield stun is actually applying.
Okay.
So that's like, I think that was like 7 plus 1, 2, 3. Okay, then you hit his shield again with a follow up, but he was still in shield stun while you were doing that.
Right.
So you had enough time to walk over and down tilt his shield, which is at least like 6 plus walking time. I think you walked for like 3 or 4, and he was still in shield stun. Like, so I can see him being able to maybe spot dodge it, but I think that it's a pretty tall order. Like maybe at this spacing he can spot dodge it, but I think that like we can confidently rule out certainly grabbing us and attacking back.
Okay.
Because
Right.
like
Yeah.
so like I'm not saying there's no risk. I am saying there is maybe less risk than we think in a situation like this.
Yeah, like that this option just because it just comes out just because it's like I'd rather just get a shield poke with the down tilt. I'm too close for it anyways, but it's just something I'm like, all right, don't grab. I just rule out grab entirely, but it's something that I definitely need to start doing.
Sure, and to recognize the game state, of course, because let's be reasonable here. Maybe because of the percent, grab is not ideal here. Like I could happily accept that. Like again, I'm going to assume you can know your character's B and Bs. It's possible that like bomb into like this down, but like that's the other thing. If he's in shield, if he's stuck in shield for this long, maybe we could do something greedier too, right?
Right.
Because we could have gone over and bombed him. Like I think that much is clear.
Yeah, we could definitely go behind Marth, which is pretty strong.
Probably good versus somebody who's like constantly retreating too, to like be behind him, since we then know that he's got like he has no counter attack, right? So he basically has to give up center. Honestly, if we go behind him with bomb, what do you think about like short hop missiling here again? Because he's probably running this way, right?
Right. If he were to run that way, if they were to stay in shield, they could definitely back air me out of it because it's a very slow thing to start up. But if they were running away, that'd be a good idea. Like if they roll to the left,
Real talk,
I think it would be, yeah,
if they back air us, is that even bad if we're both at 0? Don't we just trade damage?
that's true. I guess it's because of what freaks me out is just not being on the ground.
Yeah, but we're at 0 and he's hitting us with back air.
Right. Okay.
so no. This is good. This is really good. So I think that like what we need. I think that we have two things going on. One, you're not sure how like I think your perception of how fragile your character is a little different than how fragile she actually is, and how susceptible to damage she. Like she's just more durable, I think, than you think she is.
I would definitely agree. It's something that me and Eric were having a conversation with because the tournament I wanted to go to yesterday, he went to, and this Marth went to, and I haven't watched the set, but 3-0'd. Eric 3-0'd her, and it was
her. Okay, my bad.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no problem.
So Eric dunked Eric dunked her.
Eric dunks her. And Eric was telling me what's the difference, or like what he thinks is the difference between our Samuses, and it's definitely the motivation to scrap. He is willing to just CC, he's willing to scrap, and I am not willing to do that just because I do think I have that feeling that my character's for some reason very delicate, like she'll just die, and I don't know why. It might just come from like how I try to play this matchup, just because I try to play it just outspacing Marth a bit, like trying to whiff punish Marth, and that just has me getting tippered all the time. And I'm just like, I can't really CC these tippers. But I'm not too sure. But he was explaining to me that I am definitely a Samus that just does not like scrapping at all. So that's that plays into just kind of like how I think my character's very delicate.
That fair enough, but I want to point out, like, look at what happens when you actually when you are willing to trade damage.
Right, and I don't know why I don't make these realizations, because that definitely just played out in my favor, just because I was able to CC fair.
Well, to be fair, we were talking about being in the air, but like, I'm pretty sure we can find a spot where you like DI in and nair him. That's another thing. Like, do you DI into Marth ever? Like when at low percent, have you ever just like held into him?
No, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, no. My first thought would just be like, all right, start DIing away. Like even it's like sour spot, like fairs.
You know, interestingly enough, I think that might be where you're thinking the fragility is coming from. Because like think about the trajectory on this back air he hits you with, right? So you go over him. Now I want you to think about like, not in this position, but in another position. Like if he was closer to the ground, if he was like here. And he did this back air and drifted with you, then he probably comes out around the same time you do, right? Like you're both basically actionable around here. Right. And if he lands on the ground first, because he's like lower, if he tippers you and you're still holding away, you're gonna die. So
right.
maybe part of the fragility is simply a DI thing. Maybe you're just holding out too much at percents where it's better to just cut your losses. Except that like he might sometimes get like an extra 10 or 20 on you, but like you won't die.
You know, and that's something that Techno had mentioned to me is like, I think he mentioned it also in this game where he's like, well, you know, if you go into Marth, you can't get tippered. There's no way you can get tippered. I'm like, yeah. You know, that's such a simple idea, but it's so smart. I'm like, what the heck? I'd never really thought about it.
Yeah, and like, I'm not saying that you'll never get tippered for holding into Marth, because Marth's right. He's got things to do it. Like he could nair you. Nair sets up for tipper pretty well. That was sick, by the way. But what I'm getting at is, I actually think that your decision to be more reserved about like when you choose to scrap can actually work in your favor, because most Samuses don't like do any of this. They usually, like, once they got their missile going, they're just like, okay, get in as soon as possible, and, like, just get in his face. Yeah. You're taking a more measured approach, and I don't think that's wrong. But I do think that we also have to be realistic about our ability to beat Marth in the long run at mid-range.
Right.
Yeah, like, it probably works. Like, I think that what we need to do is we need to think of like what you're doing at this mid-range position as a vehicle for getting us to our stronger ones, as opposed to it being like the centerpiece of our game plan. This is like a vehicle to get us to the spots we want, not
Okay.
not like the thing that wins us the game.
Right, right.
Does that make more sense?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Okay, cool. So what do you think the biggest barrier will be for you implementing this?
Hmm.
Like, why are we not down smashing this guy?
uh,
Like, why are we trying to shield after these hits? That's what I'm trying to know.
feel like. Hmm.
Like,
I. Hmm. I feel like because I know I should be wave dashing in and trying to like down smash, but I feel like I'm messing up right here. I'm not too sure. I feel like I might be just doing it too fast, and I'm just not even actionable yet to do it.
that
I'm not too
actually
sure.
that actually makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about that input now that you've said that, and yeah, like if I were messing up a wave dash, you probably did it twice, and that's why
Yeah.
the second one's staggered. Okay, never mind. So this is just execution. Cool. Moving on.
Yeah, and I've mentioned to Eric where it's like a lot of my execution has been really getting in the way. I have very sloppy inputs sometimes when it comes to very simple things.
Like what? Like shield? Like acting out a
Um,
shield?
yeah, like acting out of shields. That's a good one because whenever I want to say I want to up B out of shield and somebody hits my shield, I will push up B for sure. I'll always push up B, but I tend to fat finger A as well. So if I'm still in shield stun and I push B, and I can't do anything yet, my fat finger will push A, and I'm now actionable, and I will get grabs. So, and that happens a lot with me. So there's
Gotcha.
like a lot of like sloppy inputs that I have that I need to work on. But that's definitely like wave dash down, down smash. Sometimes I do it way too fast, and I don't get anything. I get a full hop, or it just doesn't really come out.
I bet it's not to do with your fingers, and it's more to do with with the timing.
Okay.
Because I'm seeing some of the stuff you're doing. Like you're like fast falling missiles. Like I am reasonably certain that that's really like I've tried that myself like eight like eons ago, admittedly, and like I was doing it on OEM, and I know that's hard. Like that's so difficult. So what you're doing is like takes a ton of finesse. Like you're also just like casually aerial interrupting on like every level on every side platform. So I don't think that this is a precision issue. I think that this is an accuracy issue. I think that you're just simply misaligned. So the reason I've stopped here is have you ever noticed that, like what your shield does?
The little scribbly stuff.
Yeah, the TV static. I mean,
Yeah.
like you could call it scribbles. We can call it scribbles, but yeah. Have you ever noticed that it appears when your shield gets hit?
No, I never really. I guess I really never paid mind to it or like paid attention to it. Really.
Yeah. So what about the disappearing? What about the Okay, yeah, the disappearing that happens there.
Never really thought of it, honestly. I think I've heard some things about it, but I always thought, well, it's just part of the animation.
It is part of the animation. It cues a very important thing. Let's watch that a little. Let's watch that one more time. I
Yeah.
think you'll find it like kind of. I think you'll find it kind of enlightening.
Hmm.
So there's the Nair. So when do you think shield stun ends? Here?
When the shield disappears.
Close. This is when.
Oh, when the shield reappears.
Yeah.
I imagine.
So it's here.
Okay. Okay.
So this is the point at which you are now actionable.
Hmm.
And I think that that is really the crux of it. I think that let's look at some other situations. Do you think if you mess up any out of shield inputs, do you think that you could tell me when you think you're acting?
I think so. Yeah. I don't really look at the game frame by frame at all, but yeah, I think I can at the very least do that.
Okay, so what about here? Because what do you want to do here? What do you think you're gonna try to do?
I think I want to wave dash into Marth. That's what I'm thinking I want to do.
So sidestep is definitely not it, right? Or spot dodge?
Actually, a sidestep would definitely be in my mind as well because I just don't like getting grabbed sometimes. So it might be something that I was thinking about as well.
Okay. If you had to give your best guess, though, do you think this is intentional, or do you think this is an execution error?
I would think it's execution.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. So let's look at that, like about how this works. So tell me when you need to put in your input. Like, we're just gonna go through this very slowly. So he hits your shield. When do you have to act?
Well, I imagine like what we went over, just when the shield appears again.
Right. So when do you think you did act?
Probably just a bit before, like maybe like 1 or 2 frames before.
Okay. So an easy thing I think that we could start training for is to just watch is like as part of your play, keep an eye for the shield flicker.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the shield it's either going to do the TV static, or it's going to do the shield flicker, or it'll do both. Like it'll do this TV static and then that'll be it, or it'll do the shield flicker. Okay. So yeah, like that's just you have 2 cues you can watch for now, because they denote the end of shield stun for different strength attacks. We'll need to keep an eye out here for like. I think actually it might just disappear. I think it might actually just be a shield flicker for all attacks. I think that the reason the static appears multiple times on weak moves is because of the multi-hit, but I've never tested that. But you see what I mean? Like, whenever somebody, like, you see it happening in all these interactions, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's something that you could, like, learn how to align with a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think something that I could just pay mind to.
Yeah. And I think that's going to do a lot for you, along with DIing into like, what other characters do you think you could like? Do you ever DI into anyone actually? Like, is it just a Marth thing where you don't do it, or like, is it like an everyone thing that you do it?
No, I think it's just mainly Marth. Marth is the only one that comes up.
So yeah. So why DI away all the? So if I see you versus Falcon, you're gonna like you're gonna mix up your DIs and stuff, and like use like kind of hold into them where appropriate, hold away when appropriate. Like there's gonna be a mix of them, right?
I would think so. Yes.
So Marth. So why Marth?
Marth. I think it's because of my cruddy DI that I feel like, why am I getting hit so much? Like I get hit fair. I get carried like when I'm in the air. I'm like, why am I getting hit so much? So I just keep like, well, I gotta DI away, and I just gotta get away. So that's what I was thinking. So it might be just that.
Do you ever attack him? Like, do you ever just try to trade near or up B or anything?
When I'm getting like hit by those fairs?
Yeah.
Not really. Just because I feel I'm always like a little too far, unless I'm really close to them, then I'll start mashing A or something.
Yeah, but he sticks out his hand when he fairs, though, right?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
And your leg sticks out a good amount as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think that like the biggest thing for you in this one is just to not be afraid to trade.
Okay.
Like, in addition to the things we've talked about, like the shield stun cues, because that's huge. That's gonna help you everywhere, I think. But I think against him specifically, yeah, DI in more. Like, just don't be afraid to trade with him. Because like if you trade your nair with his fair when you're both at low damage, like you probably come out on top of that.
Right.
And I think that it'll make your zoning game like more effective at the mid range as well, because the way that he wants to like deal with you, the way that he wants to deal with somebody who's trying to trade with him in close quarters, is to give them a little bit more space, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if your backup plan is like to zone him with missiles and like control space effectively, and he's moving away from you and therefore cannot threaten you with his sword as effectively to stop you from doing that, there's a lot more tension in how he has to play the neutral. Right. Yeah. So it kind of like just does all the things you want it to do, which is like it kind of like puts pressure on his main strategy and introduces and like encourages him towards a counter strategy that doesn't actually work in his favor.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great. Like, yeah, make him suffer. Like talk to me about that bomb.
That was definitely too fast on the missile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Execution error, moving on. I think that, like, for the power that missiles give you, I think it's, like, worth... Even if you're not, like, 1,000% perfect or whatever, I still think that what you're doing, like, it's still worth it to go for with your consistency. Because, like, yeah, this is putting pressure on his dash. It's making it much harder for him to move around. And that's, like, when you can make Marth's movement harder, like, that's tough. Out of curiosity, though, what do we do when he goes on these platforms? Because I noticed that you just kind of, like, hang out below him.
What I should be doing, I feel like I should be aerialing him, especially at these percents. So like trying to get a nair.
Do we have to do anything?
No, I don't think so.
Like, what if we crouched here or just stopped here?
Yeah, we could definitely just crouch, because we're not at any percent to be worried about, to be honest, from any like aerial. I guess if he downers us, but yeah, there's no real reason to go up there. Again, other than if I just want a nair and I did know they were gonna jump, so.
Yeah, because we went for like this F smash. I think you thought he was gonna shield.
Yes, I definitely thought they were gonna shield, and that's definitely just one of the auto habit options that I just go for. I tend to just tunnel vision. I'm like, oh, they're gonna shield for sure, and it's like, no, they didn't.
See, this is where we need to start working in grab, because that temptation, I think, is really common for us to tunnel vision onto things like that. And if we're not like, I think that we fixate on beating options when they're like posing more of a challenge than they should be. And I think in this case, shield makes a ton of sense because, yeah, we're not really like doing the direct counter. We're doing all these like kind of like soft counters or things that are like okay against it, but none of them that actually like straight up address it and say like, no, like this is not allowed. And I think that's why you're kind of like working so hard against it, because it's just, it kind of like, if he knows that he can just block, if he can just hold shield or like expand shield or just, you know, move slightly back in further back in shield, like there's not a lot of pressure being put on him because he still beats like he just has to modify his strategy. He doesn't have to actually change it. Yeah, that's kind of one of the powers of, that's one of the important impacts of grab, because it just hits them.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, like we're just swinging at air at this point.
Right.
How confident do you think you'd be in applying some of these concepts? Or do you want to watch another match?
No, I'm pretty confident I could, just start looking and applying these kind of concepts to
How would you feel about How would you feel about trying some live coaching? You're allowed to say no. You can't say
like actually playing, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct? I think no, actually, because Eric and everybody knows that I am just a huge, like, I want to warm up. I want to feel ready when I play Melee. I'm not one to just go straight into playing Melee, and I feel like I would just get very frustrated.
Okay. Why?
Yeah. I've always had that. I always want to feel like I am prepared. I literally plan my day sometimes when I have to go to a tournament. I feel like I just want to be warmed up. I don't want to be blaming myself on like, oh, my hands were feeling cold, or I was like flipping a lot of tech skill, or something feels off. I just want to get all those worries out of the way and just keep them all in check. Like, so I'll just warm up here at home for a while, and then go to the tournament like an hour early, and then warm up at the tournament. So I've just always been like a big prepper. And that would be also when I go like on the ranks or on online or anything. In the rare cases I do. I don't really like online. I will warm up on TRT for like an hour and a half first, and then start playing online. So I've always just been like a big prepper.
Can I show you a video?
Mm-hmm.
So this is by Frigid, who's probably my like favorite content creator for this game.
Yeah.
And let me know if this is an okay volume. We
Sounds good.
I want to tell you about a conversation I had with someone at a local. To avoid calling anyone out, let's just refer to them as unnamed Marth main. The two of us were talking about warming up, and we both felt that it took us a long time before we started playing up to our skill. The unnamed Marth main was convinced that it took them a solid 4 to 5 hours before they started playing at their base level.
How long would you say it takes you?
I would say definitely not that long, but I would say
2?
an hour. Yeah, up to 2 hours.
So an hour, 2 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
At the same time, I was working hard on tackling a performance anxiety issue, as I regularly felt like I couldn't play up to my potential. I'd be playing great in friendlies 1 minute, then drop inputs the second it became tourney. Warm-up routines
Has
weren't
that ever
helping me
happened
much,
to you?
so I started
Lately, not really, to be honest, but it has happened to me in the past. But lately, I've just been more confident in playing tournament, just because I've been thinking about other things rather than, am I messing this up? I actually haven't been thinking about Texaco at all, really, in tournament. It's just been more focusing on, uh, like, trying to find ideas of what I'm trying to do, trying to figure out, like, the opponent. So Texaco has actually been something that I have not focused on in a long time during a match. But I remember that used to be one of my biggest gripes in this game, was like thinking about how I'm messing up inputs and I can't really play.
Okay, good. So let's let this, because this video I think can help us understand that. So,
Yeah.
turning to what I could do mentally, and shared that I thought there was a much more abstract solution than just playing more. Today, I'm going to go over where I went wrong, why I think it held me back, what actually makes an effective warm-up for myself, and my thoughts on getting into the zone. I'd also like to add that I don't necessarily think this is definitively how everyone should view warming up. My goal is just to tell you about where I think I went wrong, and possibly help you find something that works for yourself in the process. I want to start by talking about my focus during warm-up. The idea that more warm-up equals better play or winning is where I think
This
I
is
went wrong
hilarious.
the most. My idea of warming up was playing until I hit every L cancel, wave dash, and combo, and that the more I did it, the longer I did it, and more intensely I did it, the better I would play.
I
It
used to
wasn't
do
until
this.
recently, though, that I started
It
warming
did
up
not
with the
work.
idea, whatever happens, happens, or we'll see how it goes before a match. My intent with these mantras is to go into a set with an open mind and help me prepare with a clearer head. Keeping "I'll see how it goes" in mind keeps me from overanalyzing how well I think I'm playing before a match, and to stay grounded during prep. This is what led me to how I think about warming up today. Trying to not try. The way I would describe warming up now wouldn't be to necessarily make myself start playing well, but to set myself up to play well. To put it another way, the difference is pressuring yourself to play well and supporting yourself to play well. Whenever I warmed up with the intent of grinding as much
Would you say you are more like? Would you say that you are more like the one on the left or the one on the right?
I have definitely transitioned to more on the right, but I have definitely, and recently have been on the left a lot of the times. And Eric has supported me a lot in trying to fix that in myself. My break when you were trying to initially contact me was definitely because of the left.
Okay. What do you think drives that?
I think it's the idea of just like not being able to show the people I work with, like Eric, like showing them that I am a good player. So a lot of things just get to my head when that starts happening. It's just like, oh, I'm a big letdown.
Do you really think that Eric thinks that about you?
No.
Then why do you?
I don't know. It's something that I've always like really struggled with. But lately it's been getting better, especially since I've come back from my break, and definitely something I shouldn't be groveling in my failures. So it's what led me back to Melee and start actually try to enjoy the things that I want to do. I've definitely been a lot more supportive in myself when playing Melee. So, but I've definitely caught myself in the left.
I think that this happens some of the time to just about everyone, so I don't think that we need to be like ashamed or feel bad about it at all. I think that the reality is that we're humans, right? Like we're flawed creatures. We're never gonna be perfect. So the idea that like we can force ourselves to be perfect is just not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I'm really glad to hear that I'm really glad to hear that things are that you're finding ways to be more supportive of yourself. What goes into that? Like, what have you changed in that way? Or what do you think helps with that?
I think what helps with that is just the idea that of the opportunity of just like doing this kind of stuff and working with like actually having stuff to work with. So I actually have like, oh, I'm losing to this Marth. I should work on it. It's like things that I can work on and just be happy that I'm actually like getting some work done
Goals.
in Melee. Yeah, like goals. Yeah. I want to beat this Marth, or I want to get this. I want to perform like so and so at this matchup. So yeah.
That's awesome. I think that those goals are super important. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I finger slipped. Yeah, no, I think that goals are super critical. I think that when we start to plateau, or when we start to like settle on an idea of like where our skill is, that's really like where like, or we get fixated on a placement. Like I've definitely been there. I think that's when we start to like not see the game for like its entirety. Like, because whatever version of the game we have, like, we understand, that's the one that's going to stick with us once we reach that, like, that plateau. I think that it generally happens because there's more going on, because the game is always evolving. There's always new things being figured out with it. The metagame, even if there aren't, even if it's a fairly stagnant meta, which we've seen a couple times, there's still the RPS of like different styles of combat that kind of like shift within that stagnant system. So I think that like for us to simply say that like, you know, we got this figured out and such, the absence of goals I think makes it really hard to stay motivated, because without goals then what is there to do, right? We just kind of like we kind of like start to preserve, but that's not how we grow.
Intent of grinding as much as possible, I'd end up trying really hard to do everything. This would lead me to pressing too hard on inputs, gripping my controller too tight, and at the time of writing...
Oh man, I wish I had seen this like when I started playing NES. I've been hitting the buttons so hard, it's like, oh.
On a lot of different things. It helped me to remember I've played Melee for probably thousands of hours at this point. I shouldn't need to try so hard since the muscle memory is in my subconscious.
How long have you been playing?
Warming up now, my goal is to
How long have I been
playing?
playing?
As little effort as I can give.
I
think this mindset is especially useful
I've
when
been playing, I think
since flow state, or
2016 if I remember
flow
correctly.
State by definition is the act of being fully immersed in the action you're doing. Immersion being the key word here. The usual train of thought for getting ready is to warm up directly into playing well.
So, I don't know if you caught that, but he basically said that flow state is the state of being fully immersed in the task we're doing, right?
Right.
So, and I don't know if I asked you this. If I have, and you've answered it correctly, my bad, I've forgotten. But what is the problem with focusing on execution then?
I think the problem with focusing on execution is that it just takes up, I don't know, like it takes up like mental space, or like kind of like it gets in the way of other thoughts that should be important, like what's happening actually on the screen.
Exactly. So let's think of them as separate processes. So if we're playing, then we are like if the act of playing, i.e. the task of playing, is different than the task of evaluating how we are playing. So for us to be fully immersed in the task of playing, we cannot have attention shuffled away from that to the task of evaluating our play, because those are different those are different tasks.
Okay.
So I would actually wonder, I'm now curious, has there been any tournament sets you've played where you felt like fully immersed in what's going on? Even if not for like the full set, even if it's just for a few moments, like bits of the game, a full game, anything like that. Like, okay, so you do get that.
Yeah, I recently had a tournament like that. Yeah, like I think it was the last time I played Eric. There were like a lot of moments where just like I was very fully immersed in the options that I just wanted to do, and like how Eric has told me, this is like coming up with the next idea and just always looking for that next idea, and that's what I felt I was when I was playing in that set. So I felt like that was a really good set for me.
That's amazing. And I bet, and you know what I noticed there is, I find usually it is our passions Like, nobody's passion is to, like, refine tech skill. Nobody has that goal, except maybe Techno Spider, but, like, nobody else has that goal. It's usually usually our goals in the game are, like, a little bit more, especially, like, our true goals, like, the ones that, like, the pure ones that we had when we, like, first started getting into this, and then the ones that kind of, like, undercut everything that, like, or that flow through everything we do with it. Like, for me, it's learning and seeing a strategy come to life. I live for the construction process and seeing it, like, come together on the big screen. What would you say you play for? Like, what drives you to play?
Definitely something, or definitely what I had mentioned before is just like people who work with me and just like showing them that I actually am, or I could be something like a good player in this game is what I've always definitely wanted. So I've always wanted to be like like a really good player, a really good representative like of Arizona. So that's always what, or like that's pretty much what has been my main goal for Melee.
Okay, and that's been the goal forever, right?
Yes.
Okay, so like Ike, you fight for your friends and like recognition, kind of. Totally fine. And that's, I find that like with like, would you say that's intrinsic or like intrinsic motivation, or is that a little more like external?
Definitely external, so extrinsic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any way that we could like is there any way that we could view that with, as being a more personal goal? Because I find that with extrinsic, they do tend to like have a little more volatility with them.
Yeah. I've always honestly have never really thought of like, I don't know. It's very hard for me to think of like a goal intrinsically for Melee. I don't know why. It's just something that I've always had this like, oh, I want to show people. I want to show people that like that I'm good. But I've never really played for like myself solely. I guess, yeah, I just never really played for myself.
Well, that's
like,
fair. But I mean, like, hey, like, I want to just kind of pause here because I want to show people something new. I just don't make it my only goal. I just don't tie it exclusively to them.
Right.
I want to see it come to life for me first. But I know that the best way to do that is by showing others, because yeah, like that's how you get, like, it's
the most measurable, I think.
Exactly. So they're more of a measurement. It's not so much, but they're not like they're not the only thing on the rubric, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that we have to figure that out now, but something to think about.
Yeah.
So that should actually go.
So let's look at warming up.
To playing well. I don't think I'm alone when I say I've thought of being in the zone to just mean playing well, but it's actually important to consider the difference. Being in the zone isn't necessarily.
I win this set, by the way.
But more that playing
this
well
game too.
Byproduct that can
they don't put that in though.
Okay. Being in flow state means to have only your action present in your mind, no other stimulus distracting you, no thoughts of placements or ranking, no judgments on cheap or unfair, no thoughts on whether you're good or bad. Being in the zone doesn't mean playing well. It means you're not getting distracted, and blocking out distraction is what allows you to play to your real potential. The difference between conscious and subconscious brings me to my next point. There's an idea that there are two parts to all of us, and it's described in a book called The Inner Game of Who's at my door right now? How are they even at my door in the middle of a video? I guess I'll go check it out. Who could it possibly be right now? Hey there, have you ever heard of a little book called The Inner Game of Tennis? It's this totally hidden gem of a competitive mindset. Did you know PP read it and he won Apex from Mountain? It's basically the Bible part 2. I don't sleep anymore because I realized I don't need to. My mindset is that good now. You should read this. You should read The Inner Game of Tennis. Okay, alright, yeah. Yes, this is another Melee player talking about how good the inner game of tennis is. If you're not familiar with the book, it has this concept that there are two selves to all of us. The conscious self and the subconscious self. The conscious self is the voice you hear in your head that you think of as you. It's your thoughts, opinions, decisions, the part of you that directs your body. The subconscious self is the one who actually does things. It executes your muscle memory and overall takes care of a lot of tasks that you don't actively think about doing. The subconscious self is the one balancing.
Do you think you would play
sure you don't
if there wasn't a ranking, or there weren't like if there wasn't notoriety?
Similar to that of a coach and a player. Your conscious self should be recognizing situations
and
informing the subconscious what changes are needed. The subconscious's role as the
I
player
mean,
is
if
much
that's
more
if that's the
simple.
answer,
It
then that's the
performs
answer,
actions
right?
practiced and
Yeah,
applies
I don't
adjustments suggested from the conscious
think
self.
so. I
The
do
only part
love
you really need to be concerned about is the
doing the
conscious
things
self,
I do.
because,
I definitely
well,
like
that's you,
how I
and that's
play
really the only part
Samus.
you have control
And
over. It's not so much that you need to make sure
kinda,
the conscious self does one thing.
like, I try to
and
just be the
subconscious does
unique
another.
Samus, and
It's more
that's
like you need to
definitely
make
a
sure that
big
you, as
motivator.
the
But I
conscious
don't
self,
think
does its
that
job
would solely
and
drive
doesn't
my
get in the way
will
of
to
your
play Melee.
subconscious doing theirs.
Sure. And I mean, like, again, so there's a social element to, like, we're humans. We like fame, we like glory. It's just part of the thing for the most part. But I guess what I'm curious about is, if you strip away the fame and the notoriety and, like, you know, being a representative, what part, like you said, you still love doing the things you do, even with that gone, maybe not enough to play, maybe not enough to play in this capacity, but what's left that you do like, though?
So like no tournaments at all.
Well, no, there could be tournaments, you just don't get famous off it. Like, it could be
Okay.
like the grassroots kind of thing.
Oh, then I would still definitely be playing Melee. And tournaments is just something that I enjoy heavily. I just like competing in general. And I like just getting better, and tournaments, I guess, is just like a way to tell me, hey, you're getting better. But can't really think of anything else other than just playing Melee, just because the way I play is fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So why not? Why can't the goal just be to have fun and get better? Like, why can't isn't that the core goal? Because, like, if you said you'd still be playing if there wasn't the fame and notoriety, but if we still had tournaments. So to me, that sounds like the more powerful driver.
I guess that is what I'm saying. It's just having fun and going to tournaments. I think that's definitely the goal then. Because I don't really, outside of like AZ, I guess I don't want to become like a top player. I don't want to be like, oh, I'm gonna be the top Samus, or I'm gonna be like the best Samus, or I'm gonna be the best. I don't really want that, nor do I ever see myself doing that. I just always want just to improve. That's all I ever wanted from Melee.
To grow,
I just want to improve.
To grow, improve, and then reach maybe not notoriety, but respected.
Yeah.
I think that's a great goal. I think that makes perfect sense, and I think that's kind of where I'm at. So, I think, we can finish this now. But if you want, I think that not this time, but next time, if there is a next time, I think that I would challenge you. Maybe if that's the goal, maybe we could try doing a lighter warm up. I will, we could still give you one, like 15 minutes, 10 minutes. But, like, so you're not going in, like, completely cold. But maybe we can try applying some of the ideas from this video and go in with a more intentional warm-up where we're not trying to, like, nail every bit of execution, but rather we're just focusing on being able to move comfortably and confidently. And then, even if there's a few small mistakes here and there, that's okay. They happen anyway in tournament, in like ranked sets, and then we can kind of just dive in.
Yeah, that would definitely be a great approach. Yeah, I definitely would agree.
All right, fantastic. So I'm gonna close this, and then let's get back. Let's watch that next match. What match? We don't have time for probably like a really long one. But what do you think would be the next best match to watch?
Let me think. I think game 2, which let me check which one's game 2. Or would it be game 5? Because game 2.
What would happen game 4?
Yeah, game 4 was definitely really bad because I started to think the start I think I had where she was kind of throwing a fit. She was getting a little mad that she had lost the stock very early on in Samus Marth, so it's definitely going to be an uphill battle.
That's her problem.
That's her problem. But my thoughts were, I won. There's like no way she's coming back from that. I won, and then at that point, it's Yoshi's. So at that point, I got very careless with my recovery. And if you watch, I don't think we're gonna watch it, or if you want to watch it, it's totally fine. Yeah. I pretty much just get tippered in the same spot when I'm recovering for 3 stocks, and that's three Samus stocks very early on, and I just died. So I pretty much just SD all my stocks, I feel. But
Okay.
I was just thinking, I'm like, why did I lose that game? So we go into game 5 just thinking of like, why did I lose that game? It's like, why did I recover like that? Just questioning a lot of things that happened in game 4 that shouldn't be affecting game 5.
Okay. And which file? Let's take a look at game 5 then. Which one would that be?
That would be the one ending with 91941.
Okay, 91941. Perfect. So that
Should be FD.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Let's now just lower. Let's just speed this up. Oh, it's at 80. Perfect. Excellent.
And I think this one definitely is a good, like this. This starts happening. I start freaking out. Like I'm dead.
So, let's play a game. So, you're DIing away with you're DIing away on basically all of these. So
Yeah.
She could have actually tippered you here, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. If not, it would. Yeah.
So what if we had DI'd in?
If I DI'd in, I think I could definitely get back to the ground,
Yeah.
or trade with an aerial.
Yeah, like I think that we're just like maybe like what do you think your DI input has to be on these? Because I'm trying to figure out like what it is. So this one is clearly like I don't know what the DI on that was. So this is a CC down. Like then you go for this down smash. So okay, this is another thing. So that was a really slowed crouch cancel down smash. Like that came out way later than it needed to. Do you know like what the timing for CC down smash is?
No, and I've always sucked at it. Just because I don't think I practiced them. And that's what I've been meaning to practice. I wanted to watch the set with you. But I was like thinking when I watched it with Techno and the other Samus, I'm like, I need to practice. And especially when Eric told me about the scrapping stuff. It's like I need to practice, actually like CCing and stuff. And actually scrapping and playing to my character's strengths because she has a really good CC.
Okay.
But yeah, I am very terrible at CC down smash. I don't know why.
So what I can tell you is, when do you think your character is actionable here after getting hit by this fair?
I think like when she just goes back into just like that crouching, or never mind. Probably no. Would it be there?
You're one off. It's here. Oh wait, no.
No.
This is hit lag, right? Yeah. So it's this frame.
Yeah, when she goes back into that crouching animation.
Yeah, exactly. And it should be 4 frames plus whatever hit lag was, generally speaking, because this is an ASDI down interaction.
Mm-hmm.
So the way that ASDI down works is that like it's basically a tether. Do you know how ASDI down works like mechanically?
No.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
Totally fine. So pretend your character has a tether, like a short tether that represents a smash DI input. Like a partial smash DI input, like a third of one, like a small one.
Mm-hmm.
That tether yanks the opponent back. No, yanks any character who's holding down back to the ground whenever they're hit. Now, there's 3 things that can happen with that tether because it's like a string, right? Mm-hmm. Either your character gets hit, it pulls on the tether and yanks them back to the ground, and the tether remains unbroken. So in that case, that would be like what we see here. Okay. The second case would be the tether gets pulled taut and almost breaks, but it doesn't, and the opponent and your character gets knocked over. So that would be like when you try to like ASDI down on like Falcon Stomp at like 30, because like your character's, you see what I mean? Like your character, and then finally we have the last outcome, which is the tether breaks because there's just too much force.
Right.
So this would be trying to ASDI down on Falcon Stomp at like 60, because it's still because you get popped up. So you see the 3 distinctions.
Yeah.
So in this case, that means that there's only a few timings you actually need to know, because you just need to know like hit lag, which is like just the strength of them, which is just based on damage, is based on what move they're doing, like and the damage that move does, and it's any weird properties it has. But most moves don't have those. And then plus 4 frames, and then you're good. You can use the that as a cue. Like you can use the crouching animation as a cue. That works. You can also use like when the auto cancel spikes and stuff, like the landing, like, you know how they're almost like spiky clouds that come out of the ground when your character lands in auto cancel. You can also use you can also use those as a reference point, because like they start to like move because you're past hit lag and into the animation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that would be something that would be worth looking at for sure. I feel like this first stock is just kind of like everything that could go wrong did go wrong. So like we DI'd away here, then DI'd away on those. Then we're DIing away, like we started DIing in on the set on the up there, and we actually managed to get the height needed to like recover back, and now we're just kind of like stuck, pinned by Marth, and then I think she spikes or something. Oh no, we missed the she tippers us, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I don't really think there's too much to go over there other than just like DI choices and like maybe not jumping as much in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't really have much I don't think there's much on that one. But do you find that the rest of these stocks play out like that, or are they different?
I think they're a tad bit different at the very least. I just remember playing from like down from that stock, so I'm just like, oof. That's what I remember from this set.
You're almost like 2 stocks down.
Yeah.
So how do you start to come back? Because I see the amount of time in this game, but like, so how do you do it?
I think it's my edge guarding, and I remember getting this weird charge shot drift that I'm like, wow, I can't believe I saw that. Like there was like the moment where I don't know why she went out to go and try to hit me, but there was just like a big like not read, but like kind of just like, oh, I can hit her because she's trying to hit me. And I think that kind of just shook her up because of like, oh, I might lose to say, or he's still paying attention, or he's still not out of it. I don't know. But that's what I remember was like a big like momentum. And I remember I was up a stock after that because we were two stocks apiece, but we were like high percent. So I took the lead. I don't know.
That's sick. Talk to me about this interaction here, because you just down smashed her and put her behind you. So then what do you think? What do you think the play should be here?
I definitely should be turning my back, and I feel like I would be trying to read for a jump in, like if she was trying to just jump back into the stage. I think she might be a little too far, but yeah, like put my back to her and try to back her. That's what I was thinking.
Okay. Do you think that's the best play?
No, I don't think so.
So what do you think? So let's think about how we can cover this space more effectively. Let's see how it gets set up. So it comes from this down smash here. So what do you think your options are in this scenario? Like when you move back here, what do you think her options are for recovery?
She could definitely fast fall and go low.
Okay.
Could also.
What happens if you just grab the edge with your wave dash?
Yeah, I could do that. Then she would be forced to go high and try to land back on stage.
But you have like invincible aerials off the ledge.
Yes.
That seems like a good starting point.
Yeah.
What if instead of this wave dash, we like jumped here? We jumped and shot a missile this way, and then did this, and then like wave dashed over. Yeah,
it definitely could have probably even caught the option she did end up choosing. I'm not sure if she would have paid attention to the missile, but yeah, that definitely could have worked. Yeah.
Oh, let's break this down, because I think that there's something here. Like, I think that there's something, like, there's definitely useful stuff here. Let's just get back to it. So we get here. So I think that the one thing that I'd point out is that this shield here costs you a lot. Because that could have been, like, that could have been, like, a missile. That could have been a free wave dash over. Like, you could have been here when she was still up here.
Right.
But let's play with the situation we have, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
So this is when you're actionable. This is when and she's actionable. So if we let's think about our options here. If we shoot a short hop fast fall missile, what can she do about that?
She can break it with an aerial with a fair, or she can just jump over it.
She can't fair. She's facing away.
Oh yeah. Whoops.
No, that's okay. I'm just clarifying that. So
Yeah, I totally forgot.
yeah, so where missiles hits around your leg, right? Like around here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, around there.
Okay, cool. So around here. So this seems to be pretty good because I know that the stage is not exactly because we're like above it. The stage where like the stage floor isn't exactly accurate. So it's like the stage floor is really like here. So with that in mind, this kind of covers her if she like tries to, if she jumps to recover, she can't fall onto the edge basically with the missile being here. She has to like jump around it and then kind of like come onto the stage or like she has to do something awkward. She can't just like fast fall. She can't fast fall past it either, I think. Or if she does, then what we do next is kind of obvious because we then just grab the edge because she's gone low. Okay, cool. So what do you think she's likely to do?
I think she is likely to jump over the missile and try to like get back on stage.
Okay, so her jump takes her like from here to around like, this is Marth, maybe around like this spot, like from here to over here, kind of is what I'm thinking. Like a little higher up, maybe more like that, but
yeah.
Okay, cool. So is there anything that we can do after the missile, after we've landed, that deals with this position effectively?
Like you mentioned, probably AI into invincible aerial, like a nair. She likes to parry a lot. I know when she's in this position, this is like very bad position for Marth. I can probably AI wait for the parry and then down smash as well, like AI parry or AI down smash.
We don't necessarily have to go on if we think that she's gonna jump, or like there's a reasonable chance she's gonna jump. We don't necessarily have to grab the edge after the missile either. Like we could just like do
yeah.
Yeah, we could just do it in place,
yeah,
right?
I was thinking that I was like literally on the ledge the whole time. Oh,
Yeah.
So yeah, if I'm here, then I would definitely just be looking for the back air if she's trying to jump at me.
Or even like back air, nair, like we're basically aiming for Marth's feet here.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, like when she's about here, that's basically like this is the when we go for the kill zone. And the cool thing here is that like if she swings at us, right? We also know that her back is to us, so her back air is slower and hits kind of like it kind of hits like a curve here, right? So if she's recovering at this kind of trajectory, we can also just go into the corner here and then like down smash her back off. Like we could totally wave dash through her as well. Like wave dash here, teeter, turn, down smash. Like that's fine and should work versus most things. I kind of like this idea. Is there anything else that's worth considering? Because I know that she ultimately kind of goes down here. Like she kind of goes down and then like hangs out here with like side B, I think. Could we have could we have just like wave dashed into nair or something?
Yeah, I could see that. Like wave dash into nair or maybe even like an F, like up angled F tilt maybe as well.
Yeah.
But that's just like a maybe. That's just like another possible idea.
Yeah, because I see this like wave dash here, like this shield at the end, this shield again, and I think that this is kind of like the crux of it. So watch what happens here. Because you like turn around and dash towards her and then shield pivot, I feel like you lose a lot by doing that.
Right.
Because you see like all these options that we have, they require a very specific spacing. Like to do this nair, we have to be able to play like somewhere in this area, like this area here. In order to do the wave dash nair, we have to be from here too. And if she comes forward, like if she double jumps here without turning around, she can kind of disrupt that with or break up her momentum by side being, which then changes where we want to be like relative to her, in case she depending on where she uses her side B in this part of her like descent, if she decides to keep it, because that's a way that she can like manipulate her fall, and we need to be able to account for that. But by shielding here, we don't really have the option to do any of that. By shielding here, all we can really do is just commit to like she could double jump back air here, and I don't think there's anything we can really do about it. Like she has her jump, right? Yeah, she just drifts. So I think that like because she has her jump, this shield costs us so much because it means that we have to play we have to play like a guessing game that we're not favored in versus her side B and back air. Whereas if we had kept our options open and prepared better, maybe by missling, because that other wave dash here cost us a bit. But like if we had like kept our options more open, we can cover this fall space way more effectively. Shielding commits us, so that would I think be a big takeaway.
Yeah, that's definitely that's definitely like just the kind of like is just a big sign of just like I usually tend to try to force an option to work. That's always also been a big problem. Like use this very specific option for this very general situation, and I hope it works.
So I would say that like maybe instead of general, we could say open-ended.
Okay.
Because like the way I'm viewing it is, you have like these specific options, but the situation, and they are good in some situations. It's just that the situation you're in just isn't that one. It's bigger. There's more options available to both players, so we have to be more flexible.
Right.
Yeah. We'll finish reviewing this game because I know we're a little over time, but I do think that what we have here is, yeah, it's very cliche, but I think that loosening up would do you a great deal of good.
I would agree. Yeah.
So how do we loosen up?
We can that's a good question actually. The way I'm thinking about it is try not to like tunnel vision on options.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what the first thing that comes to mind.
See, and I see why I see why you're using shield more liberally there and why it works better, because she doesn't have her jump. But in the situation prior, she did have her jump, and that's really where like the crux of it is. Like shield is very limiting.
Mm-hmm.
We want to avoid shielding where possible. Because, it means we can't dash. We can't jump freely. Yeah, some of our most powerful options come from not shielding. We can't overshoot, and we can't whiff punish effectively.
Mm-hmm.
So like with the attack, with the undershoot, overshoot, whiff punish triangle, we lose 2 of them by shielding. Or we lose one, weaken another.
Right.
I will say you're playing far more composed than at that initial stock.
Yeah. That's what I've been liking about my play, is just like not feeling. I've been having a lot of game 5s. I've been losing a lot of game 5s though, but I like that I've just been feeling very composed in each set.
Yeah. So
and then this happens, I guess.
Well, no, this is fine. These things happen. Like, what I wanted to point out though is, so look at how much she is jumping over you, and we haven't once jumped up and hit her.
Right.
So that would be the next thing. Think about because what can when you shoot the power missile, what are her options for in response to it?
From the air?
No, just in this kind of spot. So you you shoot, you go through the effort of baiting this double jump, and then you fire another power missile, and she's in a bit of an awkward position, so she decides to jump above it. Why do we ever shield here? What do you think is going to happen if you have a missile covering your friend?
That is true. I don't know.
Are you worried about power shield?
Guess. Yeah, but why would I be worried about power shield when she's way up there? This may be just me freaking out again, but I'm not too sure.
What if
I shield?
So the funny thing is that jump actually covers both of those. Because think about it. So if she jumps up like this, and you dash forward and jump a little bit later, if she power shields coming the missile back at you, you jump over it anyhow.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then you're jumping for this thing.
It just all makes sense. There's just no idea why I'm shielding them.
I think it's because you're predicting a power shield, because she has been using her shield a lot. And I think because there's an absence of other options after the missile, like there's an absence of lines of play after the missile, other than countering shield, because we're not just directly dealing with it. That F smash was great, but it required us to chip her shield a lot before it worked.
Right.
And that's kind of the problem. There's nothing that just says it means that she can use her shield at least X amount, and then you have to pass your own execution test before that F smash works.
Right.
Whereas with grab, it's if she shields, she can't just lose on the first interaction. It's kind of like the missile beam thing that we were talking about versus the Jigglypuff. That by not have in that it didn't work on a lot of interactions, because for you to have the beam overlapping the open spot on the Jigglypuff after the missile hits her shield, that takes a lot of precision. And it also requires the shield damage to be coordinated a certain way, or for it to reach a certain point. And that's just not the reality of the situation a lot. That was sick. That was so sick.
Yeah, that was the charge shot. And at that point, I don't know. I felt like at that point, I'm like, huh, I got that. I'm like, but at that point, I felt like I wasn't going to win the set. I was like, I'm pretty sure at this point, I don't know why I wanted to just give up. Not give up, but just I am down with whatever happens. Whatever happens, happens. And I just didn't think I wanted it enough.
So what might help is if we double jumped out of danger sometimes.
Yeah, that's what Techno definitely had mentioned as well.
Also, even if she's waiting below us, real talk, do you want to know what one of the sickest plays in this spot is?
What is it?
Fast fall nair.
Just fast fall nair. That is true.
She's waiting.
Yeah, she's waiting, and yeah, I mean if I fast fall nair, I'd probably get hit by a sour spot up tilt if she was looking for up tilt.
I think if she up tilts and if we think she's gonna up tilt, then I can see the purpose of double jumping for safety, but she hesitated. She was so slow on the reaction, and I feel like we need that grab was the grab. We're grabbing now. This is good, and she's jumping over the missile now. You thought you were gonna lose this?
I think I was just just convinced that I'm probably gonna lose. I don't know why.
What if you shoot the shot here? Does it do anything?
I could have. That move is so laggy. Or probably just a bit earlier. At least get a small one out.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So
yeah.
This could honestly though, but here's the thing. This could be a mix-up. So here's a thought. What if we showed her the beam and then put it away right as she's in range of it? Because she fast falls. What if we put it away at a little bit earlier instead?
That's definitely Omega Brain.
Why?
I'm not really. I usually just shoot it. I don't know. I just never thought of just putting it away and just scaring them with it. Because once they're in that range, I'm like, all right, shoot it now. There's no other. But I've never really thought of just putting it away and then seeing if they want to fast fall.
Yeah, put it away. If they fast fall, immediately turn, smash, turn, wave dash back, grab edge, laugh at them. Because they've just committed to low recovery.
Right. That's so smart.
So, and you know what? This is the thing. It's not. I don't think that this is a. I think that there's a misunderstanding about what your moves do and do not do. What the limitations of your moves and their impacts on the opponent are. I think that's really the biggest thing. So, the biggest thing that I want you to do in your next set of matches, and I know we've gone over time, but don't worry about it. I want you to, when you play, try not to. Whenever you think something absolutely, whenever you see notice that you're thinking in absolutes, and that's stopping you from doing an option. I want you to clear your head, like do the deep breath, clear it, and then I want you to try the thing that your brain is telling you will not work anyway. You might lose. That is not the purpose of these matches. The purpose of these matches is to get better scope on what is and is not possible in this game.
Okay.
Because we desperately, desperately need to better understand the limits of our options. Do you see what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, I definitely would agree, and I think that's definitely something that plays into what Eric had told me last night about those whole, like, you should just like be down to like just spam options when you're like trying to like scrap. And I'm like, okay, you try to learn how to like scrap, and that's what he was telling me. It's like you just try to learn how to CC like on time. So I definitely think, yeah, like just thinking about what option might not work, like grabbing, like not trying to avoid grab because I think it might not work. So, yeah, I think that would be definitely a good direction, even though it might be a little hard on my psyche. Just thinking about I'm gonna lose because I just did this really dumb option, but it's definitely a learning.
Why does it have to be bad on your psyche if we're going in with the knowledge that we are not trying to win every game? That the purpose of this is to, like, if they're going into this with the understanding that the purpose of this is not to win every game, but rather to learn how to try new things and implement new options and take our game in different directions, why should the loss bother us? Or like,
That's
why
true.
should doing it bother us? Like, that's the whole point of it. The only way you can quote unquote lose is by not doing it in this task.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So can I count on you to think about your matches a little bit differently in your next ranked or unranked or whatever friendlies you wind up playing in your next session of that?
Oh, in friendlies? Or did you mean in like tournament? Because I was thinking of solely tournament, but
no, that tournament is a lousy experimentation ground for this. Not until you're ready and you've refined them. Like, no, God, no.
Then yeah, I definitely have like in my friendlies whenever I play with it, like in net play, I am down to literally just spam options that I want to practice. So like when I was practicing bombs, that's all I was doing. So yeah, I'm down to do that. I thought it meant like in tournament.
So
in tournament, I'm like, well, I don't want to lose.
Well, so eventually they do come into tournament, but
Yes.
the time they come into tournament is after we've played them in like friendlies / unranked.
Yes.
Then
Yeah.
we've tested them out in like maybe a format we care less about, but still has something on the line with the wins and losses. I usually like to think about ranked for this.
That's what I was thinking.
Online tournaments, if you're into that, those are also good. But basically a set format where there's something on the line, something menial, so that, yeah, you can integrate them there and then you bring them into tournament.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking ranked. I don't really do online tournaments. I just don't like them.
That's fine. Ranked is fine.
Yeah, and then friendlies. Yeah, but I honestly thought we were doing a tournament. Like, oh, I don't lose.
No,
but yeah,
I'm not a monster. I'm not a...
I'm like, yeah, it's definitely hard. But yeah, no, I love doing that actually. I just love learning. Like, I just haven't been. I guess I'm just very negative towards like options that I'm convinced that just don't work. But obviously, I haven't given them a second chance. Like grab.
Well, every single good Samus other than you grabs, so you are in the minority here. I'm just gonna point that out.
I don't know why. I swear, it always never works for me. It ends up just like it's like I never space it correctly. They just hit me, or I don't know. I just do not like grabbing. But honestly, I do like the combos that I get off of it. So I should just try to implement grabs.
I agree. So can I count on you to step outside your comfort zone for a bit in the next few sessions?
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely do that.
All right. And I want you to think about before our next session how you might condense your warm up for ours so that it can be done in maybe like 10-15 minutes. Sound fair?
Yeah, I'll definitely focus on that. That was definitely going to be a big hurdle for me, but I'll try.
But doesn't it sound nice to be able to just like warm up in 15 minutes at a tournament?
It definitely sounds nice. I literally plan out my whole day. It's like I gotta get there like an hour early. I gotta eat this certain food, and then I have to practice in this certain way. I gotta bring an extra controller so the CPU doesn't bother me. That's basically all I do.
Yeah, And I mean, like, again, you play a very technical playstyle, so maybe like 15 minutes is unrealistic. But the thing is, we'll never know if we don't try. So
That's
like,
true.
so if maybe it's not 15, maybe it's not 15 minutes, maybe it's like 35 minutes or 40 minutes, but that's still way less than what you're doing right now, and that would
Yeah,
still be
and
much like much more lenient to work with.
yeah, and I definitely think we can definitely do it like in 15 minutes. It's just that I tend to practice like very, very, very specific stuff. Like I want to power shoot these many Falco lasers. I want to do these many AIs. I want to do these many missiles and stuff. So
Gotcha.
if yeah, if my warm ups just consist of just movement, I can definitely think I can manage 15 minutes.
Perfect. I'm gonna let you go then, but this was
Cool.
lovely, and I can't wait. Like, do you think, or do you intend to book for next week, or do you want to like have a like? Do you want to do the week following? Like, what works for you?
I think now that you mention it, a week following would be good at if like same time Wednesday, just to digest the information and just to like see where that takes me because I think it would just take me a while to like just start implementing all these stuffs. And
Yeah,
I really would like
this is a lot of stuff. I think that's fair.
yeah
So I'll see you on
yeah
the 8th.
yeah the eighth would be perfect.
And
Yeah.
I'll probably poke you like on Discord, just like casually, like around like about a week, maybe 10 days from now, just to check in and make sure that everything's going the way we're hoping it does, or like that it's still being, or if not, that it's being productive.
Yeah, I'm excited to go this direction. Honestly, it's been something that I've been like, oh, after analyzing with techno and stuff, and what Eric has told me, it's like it's the direction I should be going.
I'm glad that you have confidence in that. So I'll see you next week to just like touch base, and then yeah, after that I'll see you on the 8th for the actual session. Have a good night, okay?
You as well, KK.
All right, thanks, Aldair.
Bye.